All right. Hello, Get Better Faster Nation. I am Dr. Jason Bradley, and along with my co-host, the one, the only, James Chester, and our incredible executive producer, Rachel Bradley, we want to welcome you to another exciting episode of the Get Better Faster podcast. Today, we're joined by Stephen Reardon, founder and CEO of IR Technology and the brilliant inventor behind the Invisired Elite, an FDA-cleared Class 3 cold laser device that's revolutionizing how thousands of medical practices approach weight loss, fat reduction, and body contouring. I cannot wait to chat about this. With over 11 years in medical technology and entrepreneurship, Stephen has built IR Technology into a powerhouse, transforming countless lives while also running his own seven-figure medical practice. He's living proof that innovation and implementation can transform both patient outcomes and business success. Without further ado, Stephen, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? Appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, it's been really cool. I gotten to know you for the past couple of years, and we've taken some deep dives together, learned about your technology, and I think it's really cool we get to share a snapshot of what you've been up to and how you've been helping so many people reclaim their lives back. You know, there's a world out there that's sick and suffering. So many people are dealing with body issues, weight gain, just all the things that come along with that, carrying too much weight, putting stress on the joints, and just poor quality of life. And as you know, Dr. Jason over there is a functional medicine doctor, and he deals with a lot of cases of people that come into his life that are dealing with obesity issues or chronic conditions based on just the chronic ability, I guess the disease of having too much weight and what it does to the full body, the vascular system, the pulmonary system. And you've got some technology that can help people with that. When did you know that you had something special that could help people?
When I got it to work, when I actually was able to provide a solution for fat reduction. And to expand on what you were saying, not just the physical pain, but also there's so many, psychological components to, being overweight, disruptive sleep. It's a comorbidity for so many different illnesses and diseases. It overtook smoking in 2016 for the number one contributing factor to death in this country. So it's just, the excess weight just wrecks our lives in every facet. So yeah, I knew it was special because I figured it out and I could actually start helping people.
I want to back up just for a minute too, because I think I don't want to speak for everybody on the call, so I will speak for myself. I've struggled with weight. I've struggled with weight a lot in my adult life. So I know that it's a challenge for a lot of people. I've met with thousands and thousands of people myself. But Stephen, we got to back up because you and we're going to get to this. I'm going to plant a seed and dangle a carrot a little bit. You have the only FDA cleared device that basically works like it does for fat loss or fat reduction. I mean, it's like real deal science stuff here. So I want to come to that, but you've got to walk me through how Stephen Reardon is like, you know what? I want to come up with some technology that's going to help people with fat loss. Like, walk me through your story. How did we get to even on this call? Like tell me the Stephen Reardon story.
Yeah. So the idea doesn't just pop in your head. This wasn't anything that was business related. This wasn't, just this, hey, I want to create an invention because, this is my first invention. So I'm not an inventor. I'm not an engineer. Okay. I do a lot of engineering work, but, anything in my life that's worked out has not really been on Stephen's will. This was an opportunity that I saw that was available because there's been other technologies that have attempted it. Okay. And I just took it further than that. And I knew laser, I understand the capabilities of laser. Certain frequencies respond with our bodies so readily. So literally all I figured out was how to deliver the appropriate frequencies of laser to the cells that matter to stimulate the processes in the body. Laser's been around for a long time. Body contouring machines have been popular for years. None of them had the ability to reduce fat.
Mhm.
Even though some of them were using different modalities that can do it, they just didn't take the time to learn the science, to how to apply it to the body to get the reaction. So really, my journey started with research on creating the solution for something that was already, in the works. I just found what worked.
Hmm. That's amazing. And it's interesting. I've been doing this, like I said, for 2.5 decades. And in the last year of my 2.5 decades, I can't tell you how much I keep getting led back to frequency medicine. I'm telling you, it's actually kind of bizarre. The most cutting edge technologies, the most cutting edge medical practices. I mean, it's all about frequency and energy medicine, and getting what I would call, I I'm gonna mess up the quote here, but shoot, something to the effect of what some people call magic is just technology we haven't figured out yet. Or I think I messed that up, but I mean, we're really seeing, like, I don't want to overtoot it, but like some magical results that we haven't seen before with the technologies that were available before, that we're able to use today and dive in and help people get just incredible results without going under the knife, without the risk. I mean, am I correct? I mean, I want to go back to the way this all works, but this is a cold laser. People come in, they have a treatment. We'll talk about what that looks like, but there's no downtime, right? There
Right.
it just works. And there's no downtime, and a series of treatments later, and the fat's burning itself. I mean, or the cells are burning the fat anyway.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you just really sparked my brain on frequency medicine. So it's not just on the medicine side. Think about things that better our lives, right? So you've got sound waves. Sound frequencies are used in so many different applications,
Mhm,
right? It's waves, it's
mhm,
vibrations. You've got magnetic vibrations, right? You've got light, you've got electrical vibrations. All of those things are produced naturally
mhm,
anyways, and we respond to them as human beings that live on this planet. We're part of it. So, the application of frequency is all around us in
mhm,
so many different industries and so many different ways. So, of course, we're going to respond to it very positively as long as we can have the right frequency, touch the right tissue type. That's
mhm.
literally all that has to happen. Sorry, I got off and I forgot your question. I'm so sorry.
I don't know if there's a question. It's just like I'm just geeking out myself about frequency medicine or energy medicine or whatever you want to call. I don't know what to call this field. What do you call this field? You're the expert, Stephen. What do you call it?
Well, I mean, this field here, I specialize in laser, right? So the light spectrum. I'm not an expert at sound. I'm not an expert at magnetic, but they all deal with waves. Radio, same thing. Sonar. So everything is wave based, and it's all
Mhm,
based off of agitation through vibrations. I mean, you've seen those different like studies that they've put out there that are based off a tone of voice too, because we're projecting different vibrations. I mean, you speak to plants in a rude manner, and those plants wilt and die. You
mhm,
you speak encouragement to those plants in a different tone, and they thrive.
mhm,
And they're natural. They're cells. They're made from this earth, same thing. So, regardless of what it is, if it's vibration, right, agitation and wave based, then there's an application for it. You just got to find it, you know?
Well, I'm gonna jump in and just let you guys know that what you guys are both talking about is the frequency of tone.
mhm,
Hmm.
And the tone is the nervous system. The
mhm,
tone is the muscular system. You ever hear muscle tone? Like somebody looks like they're jacked, they got muscle tone, right?
mhm,
One
And
day,
somebody
one
and
day I'll be
somebody
able
that
to see that.
but somebody that doesn't have muscle tone, they're carrying the weight, and that's the tone of their frequency.
Hmm.
So whatever that shape becomes is their attitude,
mhm.
their behavior, everything has that tone now. So if we can reduce the frequency of the the fat in the body and reduce that tone and that frequency, then the body starts to
Oh,
rejuvenate and it starts to bring life back to it.
dude, I'm geeking out here right now because I'm gonna jump fields and go to like bioimpedance analysis, or BIA. But let me just jump in here a little bit, because for what that is, we basically run electricity through the body, and we measure how quickly it can go through. And this is how we get body composition. And we can say, oh, you've got a lean body mass of this, and a fat body mass of this, and a bone density of this. I mean, we can tell those things by the current, by how quickly the current runs through. And I'm just thinking about these waves and movement. And James, you're talking about like bogging the body down and weighing the body down. But it's really true. If we think about an electrical current floating through the body, when someone's carrying more body fat, that current moves more, it moves slower, guys. It moves more slowly.
Cognitive function slows down when you're fat.
It does. I mean, right? Because the whole system's going to slow down.
Your behavior changes, your attitude changes.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. On top of what you're saying, there's physical, chemical, and emotional stresses. That's proven. There's thoughts, traumas, and toxins. And right now we're dealing with more toxicity. So the frequency changes in each individual based on the toxicity and how much weight they're carrying as the toxic load. So if we can start reducing that, we remove that out of somebody's life, and then the physical stressor starts reducing. Their chemical stressor starts reducing. Their emotional stressor starts reducing. They start amplifying more positivity and more frequency, like you're saying.
Hormones balance.
Yeah, they become more vital. Vitality is really the key factor of what you're doing here, Stephen. You're giving people their vitalism back.
I'm bringing energy into the cell, right? And energy creates energy, right? And it complements the other energies that are all going on as well. It's just what we're doing is we're restoring balance to all systems, right?
How did you find that infrared therapy was the thing that was going to do that, though?
Listen, the frequency of infrared is one of the most powerful frequencies that our bodies respond to. So let's start with this. What heats the earth? The sun. It's pushing out infrared. Without that infrared, plants don't grow, animals don't eat the plants, we don't eat the animals.
We don't have seasons.
We don't have seasons, we freeze. So it's so important, and our body's so receptive to it. I've been in the integrated chiro medical field for a while, and a lot of these folks are using infrared lasers for chiropractic rehab because it stimulates the mitochondria at such a high level. So it speaks to the brain of the cell, right? So I can get that thing to trigger certain responses as long as I can get it to the right cell. And when I mean the right cell I mean the adipose tissue, actual fat cells. Before this device, there hasn't been a tool that is tuned enough to be able to deliver the appropriate energy directly to those cells, because you've got tissue above too. And we receive light very readily, and our body responds to it. I mean, think about what that sun does to it. It increases vitamin D. Like, there's so much benefit to it. I knew infrared was the trick, and it really is. It's the workhorse for the cellular metabolism. So all I had to do was figure out how to get it to the cells. That's it.
It's just that I just got to get the exact right frequency through the tissue so it doesn't damage tissue, into the adipose fat tissue, delivered to the mitochondria so that it can do its job to burn that fat. That's all that you did, Stephen. It's not a big deal.
And I had to figure out the pulsing of it to duplicate that process during the treatment too.
To where it doesn't do more damage than good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you can get too high of a dose for sure. Just like anything. I mean, I can drink too much water too fast and I can die of asphyxiation. Right. So we're not trying to kill cells.
Or you'll throw up.
All we're doing is we're providing the energy that's necessary so that the body can do what it's supposed to do. Because our bodies are amazing. And all these processes happen naturally. It's just when, there's a kink in the wire, guess what? We can't do it efficiently enough. So that's literally it.
Can I rabbit trail you for a second and say, look, condition specific stuff, like people that have scar tissue, is it helpful for that?
So scar tissue is a different animal. It's really, it's super dense. So no, not really. Not
Okay.
at this power range. Remember,
And anti-aging, is it helpful for that?
absolutely. You know, and remember, I'm running two different forms of laser too. We've got the infrared, which is really the doing the work for the fat metabolism, the anaerobic metabolism specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and also assisting with, you know, Krebs cycle, cytochrome C oxidase, the removal of O2, nitric oxide, all that good stuff. But your red frequency is really going to be the anti-aging frequency. That gets absorbed so very readily into skin tissue, and it stimulates collagen, which is basically the wound healing mechanism in the body. Right. So it also stimulates, you know, other processes in the brain, releases serotonin, which counteracts cortisol. Cortisol is the fat hormone, right? So these complement each other really, really, really well. And we use both of them, but we use them through coherency. So I found two frequencies that actually are coherent to each other, that are close enough to the ideal frequency that I need, right, to be able to produce certain outcomes and get them. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go. You go.
Oh, okay. So I use them actually congruent to each other. I get these two lasers to bind prior to hitting the skin, and I create a super wave of laser energy so that I can accomplish what I need to, which is mitigate the absorption of the infrared into the dermal and epidermal tissue and drive it to the fat tissue. And I use that red to be consumed by the skin to stimulate the anti-aging and the wound healing and the elastin within the skin.
I'm just so fascinated by this, James. I didn't mean to cut you off. I have a question I want to ask, but James, you were going and I cut you off, so I'm going to pass it back to you and then I'll ask.
Well, it's a perfect marriage for people's metabolism. Once they start to like cut the fat, this actually reduces the sagging and the stretch marks. And what he's telling us, what I'm gathering is the elasticity of the skin comes back to where it's supposed to go as the body's healing from the fat loss. So those two waves that are working in concert together, it's like a symphony of body healing metabolism where the body's getting the fat zapped, but the skin's still staying healthy. And skin being your largest organ in the body, it's one of the most neglected parts and one of the hardest to actually heal. So if he's saying that this is actually reducing the fat cell and healing the skin in the process, that's really what everybody's looking for. That's why I asked the anti-aging question, because, and I was really curious about scar tissue too, because if somebody has like an injury and they're doing this and they're overweight and they're looking to zap the fat and heal the skin at the same time, it's like the perfect trilogy. It's like, it help with the injuries.
It is going to increase blood flow to the area, you know, which is going to help with wound healing. But you know, those injuries, that's going to be a different tool. You know, this one's classed for, it's got outcomes for and intended uses for, you know, three things: fat reduction, weight reduction, and circumferential difference or inch loss. People call it contouring. Go ahead.
Yeah, and actually, that's a really great segue to what kind of my question was too, because I just want to break this down so that we all understand, and we're going to walk through what it's like getting a treatment or a series of treatments. I mean, everybody wants to hear this. I mean,
the plan.
Yeah, we're going to put because literally this is what I'm hearing, and this is a carrot I'm going to keep dangling. I get to have a cold laser on me. It's not going to burn me because we've done the work to make sure it's not going to burn me. It's going to deliver some special frequency to my fat cells. And in my fat cells, specifically those cells, it's going to turn on the mitochondria to make more energy and increase the metabolism. There's some other things that it might do with, you know, increasing collagen and repairing skin and, you know, all these other things. But it's going to do that. And when that body fat reduces with that laser, not only that, but the body fat cells that are reduced now are not releasing prostaglandin, cytokines, interleukins that are inflammatory. So my overall pain goes down, the weight burden and my circumference goes down. And literally, Stephen, I just lay there and you shine a light on me. Wait, I know it sounds like I'm serious I am one of these people. When I met you, remember, just not too long ago, I was like, this is crazy. Like, I'm into woo-woo stuff, man, but like, you got to walk me through this. And the thing is, when you said, wait, it's got FDA clearance, like all this stuff, everything that I just said is resting on real science that like is real measurable, and it's your stuff that you invented, and it's right there. It's mind blowing. And when you start digging into it and you start like suspending the idea of it's more than calories in and calories out, and you start realizing that we can turn on this mitochondria, these powerhouses, the power cells, the fuel cells in our cells, and have it burn body fat with the frequency. I mean, the literature is all over this. Dude, you nailed it. I mean, it's so flippin' cool. But can you walk us through? So I just want everybody listening to hear the science is there. Like, this is not speculative. This is not maybe this will work, or Jason and James and Rachel met some crazy guy with a crazy invention somewhere. No, I mean, this is real stuff, which is awesome. Walk us through, like, I know I spilled a little bit, but walk us through the mechanism. What happens when someone comes in for a treatment? Walk us through that. How does that work?
The framework that you use, Stephen, to get somebody better faster.
Yeah. Thank you.
Got it. So we'll talk about just the science behind it, right? And then how the treatments go. So pretty much this is what we're doing. We're delivering 2 frequencies of laser into cells in the body, subcutaneous cells, right? Everything above the muscle, because we only deal with sub-Q fat, okay? Not visceral, nothing below. The laser's not strong enough to do that, and it's non-invasive. So what we're doing is we're getting both lasers to bind, okay? They're coherent to each other, which means certain points along that wave, right? You got 2 waves of light energy moving. So at certain points, the peaks actually match up, all right? When we're talking about frequency, it's the distance between wave top to wave top, right? So like, how far is it? So what I'm using is the infrared is 980 nanometers, and for the red is 680 nanometers. Okay. So those 2 frequencies pair at certain points. So I'm able to get them to bind. The way I do that is I use small laser diodes, right, that are projected from a paddle that goes on the actual skin. They're canted so that the cone, right, when light is projected, whether it's scattered light or focused light like this laser, there's a cone. I get them to cross and they bind prior to hitting the skin. So I get coherency prior to the penetration of or absorption of into the cells or tissue. Okay. So I'm going to drive that in different different sequences of shots so that I can daisy chain my frequencies down into the tissue. All right. There's something called photo bleaching that's occurring at this time also. And that's what that red is used for. For us specifically for fat loss, there is no energy absorption on any frequency of red, light, laser, whatever, into adipose tissue. It just doesn't respond, okay? But I'm using this red as really kind of like an Uber for my infrared, right? To ride down, the red gets absorbed into the tissue. Every shot that's going down, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm essentially stunning those cells, right, with laser energy. And then my infrared pushes through once I can get deep enough down. So I'm doing that in a specific pulse, depending on how deep I have to push this laser to get the energy in. And that's going to depend on the service line that we're trying to accomplish. So for fat reduction, it's a very rapid pulse. So think about like, I always go back to football, right? So the fullback I remember old school football, like stuff that we played when we were young, man ball. Okay, we had a fullback and a tailback. That fullback's the lead blocker. That's going to be my red laser, okay? And it's going to ISO on the middle linebacker. The tailback is the infrared, right? That frequency needs to break through and really just beat a safety to get to the end zone. That's about it. So it frees this infrared up, right? And it allows it to get to the secondary so we can push in, and the end zone being the fat cells. Now, the pulsing method is, think about this. You've got a wide receiver standing here, right? And you've got a quarterback just throwing a ball to him. So he's going to catch that. So as he's consumed with the attention of catching that, you're going to have another quarterback throw a ball at the same time. That wide receiver might be able to catch 2 at once, but then if a third quarterback is throwing 3 balls, he's not catching that, right? So the pulse method is designed to get that laser in multiple shots to bypass that receiver. So while he's catching 1 or 2, the other ones are passing by him. So I pulse it specifically like that so we can get the balls past the receiver to get to the deeper tissue. Does that make sense, kind of?
Well, I like the sports analogy as being a guy. I get it because you're working off of a system of go through, make a block, hit the guy that's supposed to be protecting type thing. But when you think about the fat cell, you want to penetrate and you want the absorption, but you want the light to get in there and you want it to do what it's supposed to do and agitate that cell.
Yeah, and what it does is it stimulates a process. When that energy comes in, it stimulates a process in the body called cellular respiration.
Mhm.
So cellular respiration and ATP synthesis, which is the immediate release and use of fat for energy, okay? And it deals with the anaerobic metabolism. So our body naturally has to produce ATP during certain situations, right? And really it's designed for fight or flight, right? So you had something to say?
I just wanted to say to our listeners, just because ATP, I mean, just for jargon, ATP is adenosine triphosphate. And when people say things like, how are you feeling today? And you're like, man, I don't have any energy. I'm so tired. I have no energy. Here's what they're saying. Man, I don't have any ATP. I have no ATP today. Right. So when you're saying I'm tired, it's my cellular respiration is not producing enough adenosine triphosphate, is what we're saying. So, Stephen, I'm just sharing that so people don't get lost in the words.
Yeah. And, ATP occurs for about 4 to 5 seconds. So think about a scenario that when this would happen to us, in everyday life, we're walking down the road and we see a woman crossing the street and she's got, her child in her carriage, right? And there's a big dump truck flying down the road at them and it's moving fast and it's not stopping. So I see it. I've got to sprint over there, right? And get them out of the way and dodge it myself, dodging trains. Mm-hmm. We have to be able to draw energy from our body, right, for the output. So when that happens, the body kicks in, ATP synthesis begins, and it draws from the fat to get that energy because it's a ton of energy that has to be utilized. Just like in any explosive movement, sprinting, doing heavy squats, different combat sports that require explosive movements. So when you've heard that when you do HIIT training, you burn more fat, right, in the same amount of time. Well, that's because we're doing explosive movements. The body's having to draw from all this fat. So same thing. What we're doing is we're triggering that mechanism in the body. So the body's producing the ATP, the fat's being dumped, used, and then expelled through respiratory exhaustion, the byproduct of anything that we take in or use, there's byproducts or waste products of, right? So cool, fat's used. Well, where's the fat go? Well, it's burned up, right? It's used. It's like a campfire. Logs go on the fire, right? That's the metabolism. Then they're burned, but then there's ash left over, right? And that's the O2. The O2 has to leave the body and it leaves through breath, just like it does through normal exercise. So all we're literally doing is we're driving this laser to the right cells to let the body stimulate these processes and duplicate them over and over and over again repeatedly for 15, sometimes 30 minutes, depending on the service. And that's how we're getting so much fat dumped out and used. You also have waste that's held within the cells, which are toxins and heavy metals. And there's water too. So that has to leave. So it stimulates the lymphatic system to be able to, which is the sewer system, right, of the body. And it pushes all those toxins, heavy metals, and everything out through secretion. So urine, sweat, things of that nature. So it's like a major cleanup on the system, which is really nice. We're getting a ton of energy expenditure. We're pushing all the waste out through breath and through the lymph system. So that's literally what's going on in the fat burning process with this.
Go ahead, James.
Oh, it reminds me of like what people talk about when they want to do a detox.
Hmm. Correct. And I can expand on that too. I mean, you have about 20% of patients that are going to feel sluggish or some flu-like symptoms after the first or second session, because this isn't a one treatment fixes all. It's a series of treatments, right? Clinically, we've proven through a double IRB, double-blind randomized clinical trial, that we're able to, on average, remove a little over half a pound of fat, right, per session, per 15-minute session, which is a ton. But a half a pound is not, that's not enough. People need to lose 20, 30, 40, 60 pounds. So it's a progression in a series of sessions with no downtime. But anyways, so what was I saying before I got into that? I just wanted the viewers to know.
I was just mentioning that this reminds me of like what people are looking for when they're looking for a detox.
That's right. So 20% of those folks, yeah, they're sick. Their body is super toxic. They smoke. I mean, the air we breathe, the water we drink, it's all poison. So they've been poisoned for a long time. Now all this poison has to leave. So a ton of it gets dumped out because we're using so much fat. So the body has to process that. And they do feel a period of detox for the first couple sessions. They're going to flush with water, move around, make sure they get the stuff out. But the great part of it is, after the body clears, the next several series of sessions is so nice. It's like a light switch is flipped, and all of a sudden it energizes the body like crazy. So yes, they're going to go through detox a little bit, but it helps with general health just tremendously. And listen, if somebody's not trying to lose weight and they just want to detox, use the machine. I've got a lot of staff members that, they're young folks. Maybe they were out, having a night on Sunday night instead of sleeping. They come in smelling like alcohol. I send them right to the machine, because it's a hangover cure too. It literally clears everything out, and it causes you to urinate and gets rid of all the toxins. So it is a great, great piece for general wellness and to clean up the body and waste removal.
And I'm sorry, just to underscore that again, and then James, right back to you. The way that it works, because again, I know this sounds like woo-woo, science. It works because it's stimulating the body to have more cellular respiration. And so it's, we use words. The medical community doesn't like that we all use words like detox and going through a detox, because they don't like those words, right? But we can say the body is detoxifying by increasing cellular respiration, by adding this energy into the body. So I mean, just to make sure we're all on the same, it's not woo-woo science. I know I keep saying it, but it sounds too good to be true, but I mean, it's not. I mean, it's like the future is now.
Well, we're also talking worst case scenarios. We're talking people that packed on 20 to 60 pounds that need to go for, 20 to 60 sessions. And I think that that's a part that people should come clear on too, is like, look, it's not a quick fix. You have to like actually start changing your behaviors. If you want to change the way that you behave in this world and the way that you demonstrate health, you have to start doing healthy habits. And this is one of those healthy habits that you have to start investing in yourself with. And that's the part where, the woo-woo meets the practicality.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to just talk about some options. And then and I think that we've outlined essentially the way it works. There's a pod that you get in, you expose your skin as much as possible. Lights are shown.
It's actually delivered via paddle system. There's no pod.
Oh, there's no pod. Okay. So sorry about that, Steve.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. So it's a paddle system that is focused on the body in a certain region. That's right. Thank you. And I love that. It's so simple, but I want to talk about some other options that I've seen in my practice, post surgeries. But we've had a lot of people go in for gastric bypass surgeries before they would come to see us and chat with us about it. And I want to talk about, because people are going to ask, is it covered? It's FDA approved. Is it covered by insurance? No, it's not. I don't think. The however statement is, then is it affordable? Gastric bypass surgery costs around $50,000. I just want to throw that number out there. Gastric bypass surgery usually has short in 1 day, if you have really crappy insurance, and if you have great insurance, 3 days in the hospital, followed by, I don't know, a month to 3 months of recovery. So I mean, it's pretty serious. After the gastric bypass, nutrients are very poorly absorbed because your digestion changes dramatically following gastric bypass surgery. So we're not absorbing vitamins, minerals, micro and macro, nutrients. And so we wind up with diseases. Literally, I see these people post surgeries down the road, diseases of poor nutrition, malnutrition. And then if you go, so after all that, if the question is, but surely, Dr. Bradley, it works, right? I mean, after all that, well, at 12 months, we have a failure rate of about 45% of gastric bypass. So that you go through all that anyway, downtime, recovery, nutrient loss, secondary, tertiary diseases, pain, this, and it fails a third of the time anyway.
Hair falling out.
Yeah. And I'm being nice. I'm being kind at a 1/3 failure rate. I'm just letting everybody listening know. I know that Steven's nodding his head because he knows the numbers. Whereas with your, and like I said that. So yeah, there's an investment, but I'll let you talk a little bit about the investment. I know it varies across the nation, but there's probably an average per treatment. And I was just calculating, if somebody needed 30 treatments, if they had 60 pounds to lose and it's a half a pound and they're doing, I'm sure they're doing other things, but 30 treatments later, I mean, tell me about it. Like I know I threw a lot at you there, but tell me about how your device, your FDA cleared device is so dramatically different from all those points on down.
Yeah, I mean, cost-wise, it's very affordable, and the programs that are designed consider people's budget, and we also consider the timelines. The patients do average, 10 to 15 pounds of fat loss per month when they're in the program. So, you've got folks that need to lose under 40 pounds, and they're going through one round of, initial round. We call it weight loss 1. That's where everyone starts. It's 12 visits. Mm-hmm. So they're going to come in, and this is without the assistance of any type of like GLP-1s or medical system. This is just all natural stuff. So they're going to come in 2 to 3 times a week. 3 is optimal. 2 gets it done. So 4 to 6 weeks, they're going to lose their first, 10, sometimes upwards of 20 pounds. After they do that, now the cost on that across the nation, it's going to range anywhere between maybe $1,500 to $2,000, I would say, which is pretty dang good.
What a deal.
Yeah.
And, other than just the laser, we're in the business of changing lives, right? So pulling fat off the body, that's a part of it. But we also have to reroute their brain and start breaking these bad habits, building structure, giving them education on what to do. And listen, a lot of folks, they've been on diets their whole lives, right? Adult lives. So they have the knowledge, they've just not applied it. But we spoon feed it to them. We give them, there's a patient management app that they're going to be on that's going to supply them with all the nutritional information. It's going to give them guidance. It's going to answer questions. It's going to give them reminders about drinking water, the importance of sleep, y'all, because the difference between sleeping 6 hours and 7 hours a night is your inability to lose upwards of 14 additional pounds per year. Okay. Balancing hormones, all of these things. And yeah, it's annoying. You're getting buzzed on your phone to remind you to do something. But what we're doing is we're retraining the brain while they're doing this. So they get through that initial session and they're starting to get in a groove. The best part of this is they don't have to utilize, exercise and caloric deficit to get results, right? Because that's the traditional way of doing it. And that's the hardest way, right? That's why, there's only a 1% success rate.
I don't think you said something that's so mind blowing. And you said, like, Steve, what I love about you, like anytime that we're hanging out and chatting, like you just drop these things like they're no big deal, right? You just said, hey, people are getting these results without, freaking out about exercise and restricting calories, which is what we're all told to do, right? I mean, cut your calories, man, go work out an extra hour in the gym every day, eat a certain way, my guru's got the best diet for you, and you're just like, well, yeah, maybe that stuff too, but like you can also get results by not doing that. I mean, that's big, dude. That's not a small thing.
Well, and that's part of it. Like if they know, as long as they show up to their visit, they're going to see some success. The stress is gone, right? All this effort that they don't want to go through, right? Think about like waking up on Saturday versus Friday, right? Like I get up earlier on the weekends because I don't have anything to do. So I just get up and it's like, man, it's so much easier to wake up when there's nothing to do. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing with the weight loss patients. If they're not having to rely on their own willpower and their own consistency of doing hard things every single day, it makes this process a lot easier. Then they can make small changes over a long period of time. And the problem is most people, they don't make the change for long enough for it to work. Okay. Including me. I was I played athletics in college, played football in college. I was in great shape always. Then, life happens. You become an adult, you're money motivated, family, everything happens. COVID, all that good stuff. I was on a diet for 20 years. I tried everything, including caloric deficit, which really, when you look at it, it's the most basic, simple thing, math, right? Eat less than you burn. But you have to do that consistently every single day for a year, 2 years. And, our brains aren't wired for long term. They're wired for results now.
Mm-hmm.
So this assists that process tremendously because they know they're losing, right? They're losing because of the laser. And I know I'm getting long-winded. We can move to another subject, sorry. But it allows my program to then educate, create these new habits over a long period of time. So after they come out of that weight loss 1, if they're not at goal yet, we have a secondary option, which is going to be weight loss 2. The frequency slows down now. So they're going to come in 1 time a week. They're still going to get their supplements. They're still going to do their nutrition, and they're still going to be building on those wins that we've had. Okay. The cost of that is dramatically lower than the original plan. You start off with the investment and the commitment, and you're getting a lot of work done. Now that we start getting a hang of it and we're seeing that this thing works, we're going to move to something that's more affordable long-term. So the cost of that is going to range anywhere between maybe $400 to $700 a month until then they then hit their goal. Once they hit their goal, now they have an option for either move into aesthetics, right? Because, hey, now that I'm looking good and feeling good, I got these certain spots I want to get rid of. Or they move into a maintenance plan, which is going to be 1 visit every 2 weeks. And it's evaluations every time they come in. So, and those plans run couple $100 and they're getting supplements, the app and all that. So we tier the pricing down. We suggest that to the providers. Most of them take our advice, but we want to make sure that we're affordable to the majority, right? Because weight loss consumes, obesity, and overweight and obesity is 82% of the country.
Yeah.
And 82% of the country isn't, they're not in the top 10%, right? To be able to afford this. So,
it's tough, man. I mean, during the front end of the pandemic, I did nobody knew what was going on, right? I'm talking like early 2020. I put together what I could find on who was most at risk of this thing that came out, and all of the data, 100% of the data that I came to was people that were overweight or obese. And that when you look at the statistics from the CDC, if they are to be trusted, that was a political joke and you guys can do with it what you want. But anyway, the CDC says, 75, 85% of our country is overweight or obese. And honestly, over half of them are on the obese side, not just the overweight side. So, and when you look at, all of the comorbidities and confounding factors and all these things with something like a pandemic, in this case, we'll use COVID because it's in our memory, the people that were dying were the people that were overweight. And I put together a whole presentation. There were some other things too, but I think that was the big thing. Don't smoke and all this stuff, right? But the big thing was obesity. And I got in a little hot water because I said, if the government gave a shit about us right now, this is a perfect opportunity for them to say, we've let ourselves go. We're all overweight and obese. I said it was an issue of national security. This is what got me in trouble, that it was an issue of national security, that we have not taken care of our American population and we have disarmed them with the ability to not be at risk. And I'm like, this is a great opportunity. Your health begins at the end of your fork. Your health begins with your habits and lifestyles. And we all know how much traction that got, right? No, you just need to get the jab and you're going to be okay. And what I love I'm looking at a picture of you right now, Stephen. I'm looking at a picture of Stephen at 260.5 pounds. And I'm looking at another picture of you at 186 and change. And it's like 2 different guys on here. And I'm looking at the 260 guy and I'm thinking, and I love you. And I'm saying this out of love, but I'm looking at this guy like, that dude's at risk.
Walking death.
Yeah,
That's what I looked like.
Yeah, not just, and I mentioned pandemic and I mentioned COVID, but it's really all causes of death. When you're obese and overweight, all causes of death go up, right? And now I'm looking at this 186 point, 4 pound, guy over here that has defined, body, and I mean, and you're just like a totally different guy or a totally different human being altogether. And I can say not at risk, or at least not as much risk of all those other things. So it's cool to like see it. It's cool to be validated with the literature, with the invention that you came up with. It's just very cool stuff. James, I saw your hand go up. Sorry.
Well, it just goes back to the validation of the baselines I was mentioning earlier when we were asking him like the questions, like the openers. And the conclusion is it promotes better tone, which gives better vitality, which gives better quality of life, which saves people longevity and trouble with poor health. And I think that if you looked at it for those root purposes and you stop thinking about weight loss and you thought about, does this give somebody a better long-term quality of life? Then yes, that's really powerful. Does this give somebody more endorphins of feeling like they're healthier and more attractive? Are they going to have a better quality of life? Yes, score again. Like, how can you keep scoring long-term for people with better quotient and quality of life measurements rather than we're going to get you through this mess of toxicity and you're kind of a mess right now and you got to just like change all your habits and your behaviors because where you're at right now isn't going to be glorious and you're going to have a bad future. So if we can start cleaning these things up, and you got to do the work, obviously, show up 30 to 60 times, go through phase 1 for sure, and figure out how you can adapt to that. Really, the ones that will adapt the most, those obese people, those people with diabetes, those people with comorbidities, like you're saying, their tone will change. Their quality of life quotient will increase. Their longevity will improve. They will be healthier and happier, and they will get better faster. That is really the big crux of this conversation. Fat loss is the first stage, but what happens to people's physical body has a huge impact on their quality of life and their happiness quotient. And like Steven said, I was walking death. Now he's on top of the world. He's got a big business that's running really well, and he's helping a lot of people follow the same path that he did. I mean, how cool is that? A guy that walks the walk, talks the talk. Now he's teaching other people how to go do likewise. I mean, what a great business model. It's helping change families, helping transform the individual, which changes the whole family dynamic. In chiropractic, where I come from, I always say, if we get the woman to the office, eventually get the kids, then we'll get the guys. And really, this is women first again. And I think when you get the women healthy, then you have a healthier family. So this goes into family dynamics. And when people have better self-esteem, the GDP goes up. People have more fun. And I think that there's just a lot of things that layer on top of each other, but it goes back to the technology that works. And that's really the beautiful thing that Steven's done here with Invisired, is it's helped something work. And I was just looking just for baseline stuff. What is the market cap of weight loss and weight management in the United States? $82.7 billion in 2024. $82.7 billion. And you're like, hey man, this will cost you like $1,500 to $2,000 for your first cycle through this at a practice with guidance and an app and support and
supplements too, nutrients.
And I mean, yeah. It's the most beautiful thing that I could think about what people could actually do to invest in their own health and life and longevity and all the quotients I mentioned there. But it all comes back to square one. One guy with a massive vision to change himself to where he could change more people. And now you're helping practices make more money, solve more problems for people. And we're not getting thinner. And maybe with your help, they will be. Maybe in the next 10 years, everybody's going to be like, hey, bro, I got on this Invisired and we actually curbed this problem of weight gain and poor health.
I just wanted to say that in 2010, I believe it was New Year's Eve or shortly thereafter, going into 2011, or 2009 to 10. The CDC released a study that basically showed that this obesity and overweight crisis was definitely upon us, and that we were actually starting to die younger. And I remember that I wrote an article for a small kind of bespoke magazine called Blue Planet Green Living, very progressive magazine for the time, but Blue Planet Green Living. And the title of my article was we're now we're getting fatter and dying younger, or something like that. And that was 2010 that I wrote that. And the reason I say that was 15 years ago plus at this point, and it's not any better. Like, I mean, it's like it's getting worse. And again, from someone in, public health and in health and wellness and healthcare, it's I know this hands down. It's the number one thing that we can do to help our population, is to help them have a healthy metabolism and healthy weight. And I want to be clear, because I have said this before, and sometimes people say things like, you can't say that, it's fattist, it's elitist, you can't say those things. And I want to say, I'm not talking about beauty here. Beauty comes in all shapes and sizes and colors and sexes and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about health. I'm talking about a health quotient. I'm talking about longevity. I'm talking about just the machine that we're living in gets worn down and has to work harder. And like any machine gets worn down, has to work harder when it's carrying more weight. Our machine doesn't last as long, so you're helping people's machine last longer is what I'm trying to say, So I appreciate that. It's more than just weight loss. It's a whole public health initiative. It's amazing.
Yeah. And, a lot of this obesity issue, like, it makes you think, is it by design? Are we able to go there?
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, unpack it if you want. I'm happy to go there.
Listen, keeping people fat, sick, and unhealthy is worth a lot of money, to a lot of different industries. So, getting us better is not going to help their pocket. It's not. Their pockets are rapidly growing, rapidly. So, a lot of folks, they don't feel very comfortable with, government, right? And things of that nature. And, they shouldn't, because the things that are allowable and okay and safe, haven't, shown us that. So, things that you can control is your health. Losing the weight is the first step to it. The poison, not just from the food, but the poison from the medicines that the doctors have you on, that can go away too. I'm not on an ADD medication anymore. I don't need it. I was on HRT before I lost the weight. My hormones were low. I lost the weight, everything balanced. I have 900 tests pumping through me right now just because I lost weight. You know what I mean? We don't need those things. Our bodies can be efficient. Go ahead. Sorry, you're raising your hand.
No, man, this is what I do to remember that I have something to say. Otherwise I'll forget it. But I hear you on what you're saying though, because the reality is I'm going to use the word obesogens, right? Just a collective term of chemicals that make us fat. But if we think about just, I think the question was, is it by design? I just wanted to step back and just understand a little bit of this, that the same companies that are, I think all this shit is bad that I'm going to say, but I mean, even if you say, no, it's not, you got to think it's suspicious that the same companies that own that are manipulating our crops to GMOs are the same exact companies spraying our crops with herbicides, pesticides, which, let's be clear, guys, are xenoestrogens. The way that shit works, it doesn't kill the bugs. It makes them sterile. It literally makes the bugs sterile so they can't have babies by pumping them full of exogenous or xenosynthetic estrogens that we're spraying on our crops, of genetically modified crops that we've spliced in other xenoestrogens in there so that when the bugs eat it, they can't have babies. And that's the way we do pesticide control. And then we eat that. These same companies that make it, they also make the goddamn drugs that we are all told to take when our bodies start breaking down from this, like the glyphosates that we know that cause cancers. I mean, that have been proven to cause cancers. Unfortunately, everybody that's winning those lawsuits are dying from lymphomas. But I mean, at least Monsanto Bayer is paying out a little bit. And I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. The reality is it's suspicious at bare minimum. And I think it's rigged. It's suspicious that the companies that are manipulating our crops and spraying shit on our crops to that leaves us sick in the exact way we're talking about, conveniently also make the drugs that we need, quote unquote, to be healthy, quote unquote, healthy again. I don't know. I can't prove that it's by design, but it's suspicious. And it seems like it is, I mean, it seems like it.
Can I summarize this for you?
Please.
There's no money in healthy people.
Yeah.
There's no money in healthy people. And if they can keep us on the merry-go-round of being sick, fat, nearly dead, they can make so much money off of each individual. And when you remove yourself from the medical matrix and you step outside of it and you start taking care of your body and you get stronger and your tone changes, this is what I'm going back to all the time, the tone and the vitality. Like he said, I have 900 testosterone flowing through my body right now because I got healthy naturally.
Yeah.
What a beautiful statement. What a beautiful statement, bro. Like for real. Like what a beautiful thing to stand on. Like that is so powerful. If everybody knew that if they just got healthy, their body would function the way it's supposed to, and they wouldn't be stuck in the medical matrix.
And think about this too. Like, I mean, I haven't talked about this in a while, but the reality is body fat, is not just, we mentioned it earlier, but it's not just weight that we're carrying around. It's just not like, oh, people are like, oh, I had a 100-pound person on my back. It's not just that. It's secreting things. It's literally secreting inflammatory chemistry, interleukins, cytokines, prostaglandins that make you hurt. It makes you hurt. But here's where it gets really flippin' crazy. Body fat also secretes something called aromatase. And aromatase actually aromatizes or changes I'm making this simple, but testosterone into estrogens, right? And I mentioned these xenoestrogens, these exogenous synthetic estrogens that we put into the GMOs and on the sprays and probably in the goddamn drugs. I mean, Zoloft acts a whole lot like an estrogen. A bunch of them do. But anyway, beyond all that, estrogens, now think about this, our body fat, increasing aromatase, increasing estrogen. Estrogen, it gets so weird, increases like this in this feed forward cycle, anxiety, right? Sleeplessness, coming back to what we were talking about with sleep, over and obesity overtaking smoking as, hazards in life. We've got estrogens also stimulate the body to hold on to more calories and therefore make more body fat, which makes more aromatase, which makes more estrogen, which makes more body fat, which makes, and it's this feed forward cycle. And not to mention, we're getting it from the water we're drinking, the foods that we're eating, the air that we're breathing, and all this crap too. The cool thing about jumping in there, I mean, willpower aside, and this is why I'm fascinated with this technology. I've coached, I don't know how many, I don't even want to guess, thousands of pounds I've coached people. I mean, maybe tens of thousands of pounds I've coached people off of over the 25 years I've been helping people with this kind of stuff. But willpower is like the common denominator that we all struggle with, right? But I mean, what's cool about you, and I'm not saying we can't do nothing. What's cool is we can not be 100% and go in for the IR technology and still get weight loss and still get inflammation reduction and still get estrogen reductions and detoxification and all this cool stuff. I mean, it probably works a whole lot better if you're doing all the, the clean eating and the diet and all that stuff too. But I mean, this is a game changer. I'm gushing a little bit, but it's I'm really understanding it more on this call, and it's a game changer.
Yeah. And, another thing too is, that sleep, the disrupted sleep, I mean, that increases ghrelin levels in the body too. So of course you're going to go overeat, you're just not satiated ever, So
Well,
it really is a feed forward cycle. I use that pun very specifically because it's like if one domino starts to fall, you're like, you're hungry all the time, you're not satiated. I need sweets, I need quick sugars, I'm eating too much, and now my body is chemically engineered to like store all that as fat. And I can't even burn the fat because I'm literally chemically engineered to not burn the fat, which makes me sick, which makes me have to go to the doctor for healthcare and get their petroleum-based medicines. But anyway,
they're bringing energy in from outside sources too, because your body can produce the energy, but their intake of caffeine goes up.
Yeah.
All stimulants. I mean, think about the energy drinks. They're designed for fat folks that have no energy.
Well,
I can say it because I was the fat folk.
Dude, I was too.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just,
I was too.
I'm just listening to Dr. Jason because one of the things that makes the show so dynamic is I have a 25-year practitioner on here with me. I'm a podcast guy. I've been doing this stuff for 8 years. I love the format. We get to host people and talk to people about a lot of different stuff. But I think this footprint that Jason and I are creating, bringing guests on like yourself that are subject matter experts that know what they're talking about and that have developed systems that are helping people. That's really, I believe, that we're creating a new university of resources for people that are going to find solutions for what they're dealing with. So when people index Get Better Faster podcast and they go look at what we're doing, they're going to find subject matter experts like yourself that are going to set them free with the knowledge that we talk about. Like, are we all going to be political correct? Hell no. Are we all going to say things that people are going to like? No. Are we going to say things that people need? Yes. Are we going to have truth talks and talk about things that people absolutely deserve somebody to actually come out and mainstream and talk about? Yes. I think that that's really what makes this so effective when we talk about, we're like, can we go there? Hell yeah, you can go there. Should we talk about this? Yeah. Who's going to get offended? Probably more people than we care. Like probably people will get offended and we'll be like, okay, well, you should probably go get some Invisared then. Like, sure. Are you upset about it? Why are you upset? Well, this is a solution for you. Tell your friends about it. Share the show with them, and that's where we've already touched on this, but I want to go back to like square one. If the infrared therapy is so effective, why isn't every doctor using it? Why?
Yeah. I mean, when we deal with the prospects, right, the potential clients, it's a matter of skepticism. It's a matter of sometimes just, their business view is to not add services, complacency. There's a multitude of reasons why. I mean, sometimes it's finances because the machine's not cheap. This is a laser. It all depends. A lot of folks just get in a groove of doing the same old thing and they're not looking to expand.
I know we've had those conversations before.
Yeah. I mean, if people kept the gas pedal down, then yeah, everybody would have it because it makes the practices $50K a month, every month cash, 30 to 50 grand. But then, there's implementation, there's fear. There's so much, a lot of people operate off of fear, doing anything new, anything that's outside their wheelhouse. On the chiropractic side, wellness is a big part of it, but, a lot of the doctors are, hey, look, I like manual adjustments. I like giving nutrition information. I don't want to bring a device in. I want them to do it the hard way, and that's cool. Eventually they'll come around. The financial side of it's great. And look, people are going to get it done elsewhere. They're getting all different procedures, gastric bypass to lipo, to GLP-1s. I mean, it's there.
Well, that was my follow-up question to you. People, we're talking about the people that aren't doing it, that should do it. Like, why not?
Yeah. I mean, I can produce enough of these things. We manufacture them. So, like however many folks want one.
I think this is going to take us to the next level.
Well, I have a couple of things. Number one, I didn't even mention GLP-1s. And it's funny because this year, as both of you gentlemen know, I've lost a fair bit of weight, and I'm looking good naked. James told me that's my goal, not because he sees me naked. I want to be clear about this. But when we were talking, I know he wants to, though. He dreams about it. Okay. Anyway, I'm off that. The reason I wanted to say this is I didn't bring up GLP-1s. I didn't use any for weight loss. I'm working on carnivore consciousness, second book, and I'm following my own advice. But that all said, what I what I love about this is that if we talk about GLP-1s, again, comparing, because you brought it up, they're like $1,000 or more a month anyway. I'm being nice saying it's $1,000 a month. So there's that piece of it. Secondly, most people don't stay on GLP-1s. I won't name them, but GLP-1 agonists, because of the wicked side effects that they have, basically they're being nauseated and vomiting and having other GI upset. There's other things that could happen too, muscle wasting and all of that. We don't see any of that with this. So again, I'm sure there are some inherent risks associated with. There's got to be. I mean, everything comes with some risks. So my first part of my question, Stephen, is we've talked about all the stuff that it doesn't do, that we don't need to worry about. What risks do people have? Like, what are there any contraindications, or is there anything that, like, well, it's really rare, but there's this stuff that could happen? I'm just curious. I've never heard anything bad. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, the contraindications are minimal. They're really just major things. Number one is going to be cancer, right? So remember,
Sure.
we're using infrared. So if that laser absorbs into any type of cancerous cell, then it can accelerate the growth.
Yeah.
So cancer-free for 6 months, they're good to go. Major heart conditions, pacemaker, stents, most of these, and again, these are mandated by the FDA. Right. So a lot of them are CYA stuff for the practices. I would say any type of disease or illness that could kill somebody in their sleep, right, at any time, is a reason not to use this, or not to treat a patient. It's not that the device is going to create some sort of crazy reaction. It's just, it's something that they're doing different. And if they were to pass from, had a major heart attack in the middle of the night, even though they've had bypass surgeries and the cholesterol's through the roof, they're going to blame the laser, right?
Yeah.
Because it's something new. But no, I mean, this is literally light absorption. If you're healthy enough to stand in the sun, you can use this. Now, type 1 diabetes, insulin dependent, that's a no, because of the release of glucose into the system, right? Type 2, we're good to go. Never been tested. They've never done laser testing on pregnant women or the baby, right? And I call it a baby because it's living inside the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So they've never done testing on it. So while a woman is pregnant, no usage. Post-pregnancy, it's fine though. After 8 weeks, the only thing is there's going to be a period of time to where the woman does have to pump her breast milk if she's feeding the baby. So pump for 4 to 6 hours after treatment, because all the toxins that are out in the system. So we don't want to pass that over to the baby. Just like if they were to have some wine, right, or drink, or have a night out with the girls. But they're very minimal. Major heart conditions, cancer, photosensitivity, which isn't very frequent, but a lot of times people are on antibiotics or different medicines that may create photosensitivity. So while they're on that prescription, they don't use the device. If somebody has like open sores and stuff. But other than that, I mean, this thing, if you're healthy enough to ride a roller coaster, right, you're pretty much healthy enough to use this.
I love that. That's a great analogy. Yeah. I've got just a couple of things. One for clarity, and then one a pondering question. I think I asked you this before, and I think I know the answer, but thanks for clearing it up for me. With your device, can it go through clothing?
So it can. We've never done testing on it. This is designed to pitch directly into the skin, because remember, we're dealing with the light spectrum. So you're going to get absorption into certain colors. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't recommend it, if we want the best results.
The reason I ask, because I've asked you that before and you've given me a very similar answer, and I'm not going to name names, but I know that there are non-FDA cleared competing companies, and I've seen their demos and they put it right on clothing all the time. And I know you've seen these demos too, which is what prompted me to ask you these questions when I first met you. So I don't want to necessarily throw anybody on the bus, but I mean, I just want the listeners to know there are some other people out there that are not FDA cleared that are making some claims and doing some stuff that doesn't quite jive with what Stephen would say is the best results.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're going to have liars anywhere you're at. So, I mean, unless it's been cleared for safety, don't touch it, don't use it. Unless it's got actual documentation on the efficacy, for specifically the goal that you're trying to achieve, don't touch it, don't use it, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that it's safe, don't use it. And if you don't know through objective studies, right, objective findings, then don't waste your time.
Yeah.
But going through the clothes is just, I mean, listen, this is focused laser, and we're pushing a lot of energy. And, most of those devices, they're LEDs, so it's scattered light. It's not even focused laser. So I don't even know how they would get outcomes through clothes. Well, they can't even get them through the skin. So yeah.
Follow-up question to that too. And then I know James has a question or two or three as well. I was just thinking, because you've said it a couple of times, and I've never thought about it this way, but infrared is the energy of the sun. I'm just throwing that back out there to bring us to my point. And then I was thinking 200 years ago, we spent approximately
I love this.
90+% of our waking time outside. Now we spend, what is it, man? It's like 5%. It's like 3.7%. It's like whatever it is. It's such an infinitely small number that I can't help but think, when we're like, wow, we get our energy from the sun. And you know what? We're all like toxic and metabolically sick and no oxygen respiration and, and no vitamin D. And I could go on and on. Do we just need to get out in the sun a little bit more too? Like, tell me about this.
Listen, here's a really cool thing that I figured out. Okay. And there is a direct correlation with obesity and the amount of sunlight.
Okay.
Per state too. Do you guys know what the fittest state is, body fat wise? Do you know what
it used to be? Colorado.
It still is. You guys get over 300 days of sunlight.
Interesting.
Oh, no, buddy. 300.
Hawaii, also sunlight. Those two states are the only ones that are still below 25% obese. So they're the only two ones, but they're the ones that get the most sunlight.
Wow.
So there's got to be a correlation there, right? There's got to be.
You think so?
There's got to be a lot of correlations. I'm fascinated with this is way beyond what we're talking about. Maybe not though. Maybe we'll have to have you back on, Stephen, but about this. So I'm finishing up Carnivore Consciousness. And I've got my third book is either going to be The Sixth Pillar, which is a follow-up to my first book in 2023, The Epic 5 Plan, 5 Pillars. And I want to write that. It needs to be written, that sixth pillar. But I'm really fascinated with the body as a salt and light battery. I'm fascinated with the human body being a salt and light battery. And I'm telling you, I know our listeners like, what the F is he talking about? I'm telling you guys, it's like we're a solar battery that just needs some salt and light. And if we get salt and light, and of course water and nutrients and all that crap, but if we get salt and light, we are already light years ahead. And Steven's invented stuff to put this light energy into our cells. I mean, it's so cool. Anyway, James, go ahead.
Let there be light, guys.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in my world, I like philosophy. And I think that philosophy is like really the thing that sets business apart from everything else. And that's why I love chiropractic. Because in chiropractic, we say the body needs nothing extra in it. It simply needs no interference. Once the interference is cleared, the body self-regulates and self-heals. And philosophy is why I fell in love with chiropractic, because the chiropractor, when they adjust the body, they don't heal you. Your body heals itself. The number one doctor in the world out there is the one inside of you. And that's what Jason's saying, that if the body is regulated and cleared of interference with your systems, then the body starts to have natural relationship with itself and its philosophy. And if you start removing the toxins from the body, see, that's the part where you were talking to me a couple weeks ago when I saw you. We were chopping it up about why your light systems worked. I don't know if you remember this, but I said, well, I like it because if a chiropractor does it, it actually helps with the toxicity of that patient, because people are coming into the chiropractic clinic and back in the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, you could just move a couple bones and the body self-regulates and self-heals, removing the interference. Now there's multiple layers of interference. And we have to not only adjust the spine and remove the interference from the nervous system, but now we have a toxic human. Every system is clogged up. Every system is full of junk and crap and toxicity, not just the nervous system and the misalignment of the spinal cord. There's so much more going on. And that's why I think that we have a different case management style of chiropractic that we're in today, is why I love what you're doing and helping support that profession with what you're doing, because weight loss it's an epidemic. If you asked me to ask Jason and we had a conversation off camera, he would tell me that the reason that we're such in poor state of health right now is because of the obesity and the comorbidities. Well, if you think about what chiropractic used to be known as, it was the natural healing profession. It would get the body to heal naturally without pills, potions, or lotions. And now, as we all know, just because it's our stark reality, that people are sicker than ever. The average person's on 12.9 prescriptions, and people are just sick and they need solutions. But I have like 3 more things I want to talk to you about. But as people are listening to us, they'll watch us on replay and they're like, well, damn it, I'm not going to go get an Invisalign. I'm going to get something off of freaking Alibaba. I'm going to go buy something off of freaking Amazon. Why shouldn't they do that? Why should they go right to what you have and invest in the real deal?
Well, so again, this is for RX purchase. So this would be the provider buying
Yep.
the device. Well, easy. We have the clinical outcomes, we have the evidence, we have the science, the truth, and the fact. And there's no other tool that's non-invasive, light-based, that provides what this thing provides. Literally, no other light-based tool that's non-invasive has the ability to remove fat from the body.
And I know we've gone down this path too. That's a great answer. But I know because that's product awareness, and that's saying, hey, you guys want to get better, just buy the thing, give it a go. But now we have the consumer. Well, I don't want to spend the money. It's not covered by insurance. I know we touched on a little bit earlier, but what's your in closing message to the consumer that's saying, hey, I don't want to spend $1,000 a month or $1,500 for a plan? What would you tell them?
Well, first thing is you don't have to spend it all up front. There's patient financing. If you can afford 30 to 50 bucks a week, then which you're already wasting on things that are bad for you, then you can do this. I mean, there is no option. There's no other option. And it's like, look, you're putting the money somewhere else. Just put it into yourself. Put it into yourself for now.
That drives right to the next follow-up. Tell me a couple of success stories that you've seen, people's lives changed using your systems.
Yeah, I mean, other than me, gosh, there's tens of thousands of people that have been successful with this. I have one practice owner that's in Hawaii. He actually has 8 devices, and I call him the emperor. He's Hawaiian, Japanese. His name's, can I drop names here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
His name's Dr. Oda. So he's the emperor, and he has had over 4,300 successful patients since 2018. He documents everything. This guy's background, nuclear engineer and chiropractor. So he was able to look at this from the wellness standpoint, right? Physiology of the body, but also from an engineering standpoint, science. I didn't even market to this guy. He heard about us. He did his research and he called me and said, hey, I'm fighting diabetes here in Hawaii. I need your device and I want a bunch of them. And I'm going to send you the results. And this guy has crushed it. And there are so many folks that are just, I mean, again, he does his own studies, but there's people that are coming off of medications, so that's going to be, one facility that's had just the most outstanding results.
Well, I really wanted to ask that because it's not always about us. It's about them. It's about the people that you have an impact on, the ripple effect outside of our conversation today. And really, those are the heroes out there, the ones that are out there actually using their device to get people better. And I think that those individual cases, like you said, the 4,300 people, I mean, he's changing the dynamics of a culture. And I think that that's really what we need to do. We all need to take stake on. And my last question that I have for you, I'm sure Jason has a few others, but what's the future, man? What is the future for you and your company? What is the future for non-invasive medical technology? What do you see? Where are we going?
Yeah, so I've got a bunch of stuff in the works. So I have a second device. It's called the IR Rehab. It 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 killed it in clinicals. This is going to be for nociceptive pain. Okay, so we're getting clearance on it for pain reduction. So that's going to be another tool for the rehab doctors, and it's lights out. It's going to be the best laser on the market for it.
No pun intended with lights out and laser, and that was nice. Thank you.
And then also we're beginning clinical trials for neuropathy as well, utilizing laser frequencies. So that IR Rehab eventually will have clearance on neuropathy, which is really big. So, you know, shoot, I could get clearance tomorrow on the pain device. I'm just literally waiting on it. So that'll be on the market soon. Neuropathy clinicals are going to begin in the next 60 days. Anticipate clearance on that. I don't know, 18 months.
I'm already envisioning a synergy, a collaboration between you guys once this whole neuropathy thing is cleared and whatnot. And I know Jim's probably thinking same people, but I know some really great people that have some online or some educational material around neuropathy that they help chiropractors with. And I'm thinking this could be like a great dovetail into those same practices. Yeah, I mean, just a synergy between what they're offering and what you guys are offering. Two totally different approaches, but yet would really wow, like that synergy is going to be cool. I know Jim's thinking about exactly who I'm thinking about too. I know that. But hey, I have a question, Stephen and James also. And to come back to philosophy, and I play with this word a lot, and my first doctorate degree was in chiropractic, and I love the profession, and I mean this. If I would not have gone to the chiropractic school that I went to at the time that I went to it as my first professional degree, I would not have gotten the philosophy that I did get. That painted for me a picture that I brought with me in all my other training. In my other two doctorate degrees and my board certifications, and my graduate degrees. The philosophy really has stuck with me. And I want to just throw props out to Palmer University, at least back in the day when they were teaching that stuff. I don't know that there's as much philosophical teaching going on in the doctor professions anymore. But that all said, I'm getting there. Chiropractors use a word called subluxation. And it's always been a controversial word. And chiropractors say things like, I'm giving you an adjustment to correct a subluxation. So they're going to adjust you with their hands or what device or whatever they're using to make this thing called a subluxation better or reduce it. Subluxation is an interesting medical word because it means less than, it's a partial dislocation less than a full dislocation. A full dislocation would be called a luxation. So this is called a subluxation, a partial dislocation. And and Palmer, all professions make up a lot of words. And I think it's interesting that Palmer chose the word subluxation to define this physical mechanism that people could wrap their heads around, that the medical profession could understand. Oh, it's a partial dislocation that you're putting back into place with your hands. I can wrap my head around that 100 and whatever years ago, right? Except Palmer was brilliant. He wasn't just choosing that word because it fit a medical model. I mean, they didn't give a crap about medical models. These guys were anti-medical model to begin with. They were saying that the medics had it wrong, and the eclectics like Palmer were saying like, man, we lost vitalism. It's not about these patent medicines. It's not about snake oil. It's about returning sovereignty to the human system, that the universal intelligence is piping through us, and it's called an innate intelligence, and it knows what to do. We just have to remove the interference of the educated intelligence that we subject our beautiful innate intelligence to. That all said, the subluxation, Palmer said, was a way that we couldn't communicate. It was an interference with the expression of all of that into the physical self, right? So the thing is, subluxation, when we break it down, it actually means sub, meaning less than, lux, meaning light, and ation, meaning a state of being. So a subluxated person is someone that's in a state of being less than their full light self.
Mm.
And I find this amazing because chiropractors, we talk about being vitalistic, but the reality is what we're focused on is returning the light to you, returning the light to our patients, to removing the interference so that the universal intelligence and the innate intelligence, the educated intelligence can all talk to each other, and we can be fully expressive as the true beings that were meant to be on this planet, to love and serve our brothers and sisters that were meant to love and serve. That said, I can't help but think that when you say we're putting light back into them, we're putting energy back into them, that this is, I don't know. BJ Palmer's been gone, for, 60 years, I think now. I'd have to do the math, but it's been a while, right? But the reality is, I think he'd be fascinated with the idea of putting light back into people, because he went out of his way to name what we do as reducing subluxations. And I can't help but think he would be fascinated with this. So when I see the marriage between chiropractic clinics and Invisired technologies, IR technologies, I mean, it's a perfect union. It makes sense to me. If I had a brick and mortar, I would do this. Like, this makes perfect sense to me. And it's directly in alignment with public health measures, getting people, off of medicines and feeling better and restoring that light, restoring that light. So anyway, that's my philosophical dumping on you guys, but thank you guys for sharing.
What's really cool about light too is life starts with light. When that sperm hits the egg, right?
Yeah.
There's an explosion, and there's an ignition of light. Light sustains us in the sky, and then when we die, the lights go out, right? So, I mean, yeah, pretty crazy.
Well, Stephen, it's been absolutely enlightening, game-changing conversation you did today. Having Dr. Jason by my side on these episodes is really second to none. You could hear the accolades that he carries with him. So having a man with his brass of education and his ability to, weave these stories together with me, what a blessing, man. And the level of guests that we get to interact with this podcast. Who knew that podcast would be as big as it is today? But I feel like I was an early adopter into this game, and knowing that I've personally interviewed over 1,400 people at this point, and having somebody like Jason by my side and Rachel as our executive producer, and just knowing that the Bradleys are on mission, I just feel so darn blessed to have what we're doing together, because I could only do so much as a soloist. I mean, I was out there always grinding and putting down the work, but having like the doctor on my team now, like, whoa, dude, it's so cool. And just being able to capture these stories and putting these episodes together. I mean, I could say the same thing that Jason says, but having him say it from his fundamentals of education and background, that holds a lot of water in the world of people that are watching what we're doing. So, wow, it was just so cool to hear him talk about philosophy, because I'm the guy that, chiropractors will bring out, they'll roll me out on stage to talk about philosophy to chiropractors. So hearing an actual chiropractor actually speak eloquently about philosophy was really nice.
Hey, I want to put a plug out there too. We were just at recently, I won't name the school, but we were recently at an event hosted by one of the chiropractic colleges, universities. And I love this school. I have nothing bad to say about this school, but I found out through the grapevine, through some of the students that were there, that there are no philosophy books anymore in their libraries. And so in chiropractic, we have these things called the green books, and it's kind of where all of the philosophy is stored. Not all of it, but a large chunk of it is stored in these green books. And Jim, how many green books are there?
Oh boy, I think there's like 31 of them.
Yeah, I thought there was 30 something, right? I was going to say 33, but that seems too Masonic, but it would make sense if there was. I mean, so that was another joke there. But anyway, there's 30 some books, and we got this idea that James and I got this idea that we were going to purchase a set of green books and donate them to each college in the name of like a first semester student or something like that. And I think it's a brilliant idea, because I think that what's missing from all medical education, not just chiropractic, but medical education, is an understanding. I don't want to use the word reverence necessarily, but to a certain extent, an appreciation for the vitalism the life that we can't explain scientifically, you know, and it's being lost in the healing professions, and it's become very mechanistic and very reductionistic. And instead of honoring, you know, in a lot of traditions, you know, we honor, I salute and honor the light within you, right? However you want to view that. And at any rate, we got this idea to buy these green books, and help with philosophy in some of the medical schools and chiropractic schools. And we found out that the green books to buy in total at wholesale are around $1,400 per school. So as we get rolling with the podcast, we're going to start a fund that if people want to contribute to it, we're just going to be collecting donations to buy medical schools and chiropractic schools philosophical books so that they don't lose the vitalism behind what we're talking about. Because true healing, as we keep saying, isn't in a pill, powder, potion, or anything like that. It's in that connection with the higher. I mean, I call it God. That, you know, God, that universal intelligence, letting there be no interference within us and letting ourselves express ourselves as the true beings that we're meant to be. So appreciate you guys giving me a moment for that. We'll get the fundraiser set up when we get everything rolling here. So if you see that, click the button on the fundraiser, click it. Help us get philosophy back to the medical programs and chiropractic program.
Well, there's 39 of them. I just checked.
Thank you.
The series is 39. It's like 1,200 and change to get a set for a college.
Yeah.
But for our listeners, if you're struggling with stubborn weight loss, I know this is a huge transition, but we're gonna close out the episode today. But if you're struggling with stubborn weight loss or fat reduction or body contouring challenges, the Invisired Elite technology Stephen has developed represents the future of non-invasive weight loss. This isn't just another device. This is FDA cleared class 3 laser, cold laser innovation that's already transforming thousands of practices and countless patient lives with clinically proven results. Like he said, there's a guy in Hawaii, the Emperor of Hawaii, that has 8 units that's created 4,300 studies on what's happening with people. And there's so many clinics that are utilizing this technology to get people better faster. And for all of the listeners out there, nobody's coming to save you. Remember that. But solutions like this can prove to help you save yourself. And I think that that's a big part of this, is empowering people to find solutions for themselves. Stephen, I just want to thank you again for sharing your incredible journey and breakthrough technology with us. A lot of people will benefit from this episodes. And to anybody out there that is watching this, it's part of the Get Better Faster Nation. Thank you for listening and for your continued support. And anybody that looks to want to not only buy a set of green books for a chiropractic college or a medical college, but if you just want to help us, just share the show, share this episode with somebody that needs to hear this message. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. You guys are our people. Share this with somebody, ask them to subscribe, ask 3 people to subscribe, bring a friend to the show. And if you guys have people you want us to interview, send us messages through the website. getbetterfasterpodcast.com. And when you subscribe, you'll never miss an episode, and you'll get all the behind the scenes hijinks and tomfoolery that you can guarantee that Jason and Rachel and I will be up to. And we've got more incredible guests lined up, and we're going to blow your mind with more real life conversations and solutions for you to reclaim your health, your happiness, and your life. Up until next time, keep questioning everything and keep getting better faster. And Stephen, thank you for being our guest today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Also enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We shared a lot of truth there, and I believe that anybody that watches this and shares it, they're going to benefit too. So Get Better Faster Nation, share the show. See you guys soon.
Love you guys. See you soon.
Bye for now.